Babe, do you know what I love?
What?
When my man tastes like a fruit salad.
What man?
But for real, if I had one, I would be shoving Popstar down his throat.
Popstar is doctor formulated.
It's not just a random gas station pill?
No. The company is mainly ran by women who want bigger loads.
That's all we want.
But more importantly, it's what the men want. Studies have shown that men really are caring more about their load size and load taste these days.
This stuff is vegan, it's non-GMO, fair trade, made in America, and it's all natural.
Pop a couple pills of these Popstar pills, honey, and watch your splooge expand to the next dimension.
And if you're not happy, you got a 60-day money-back guaranteed.
And you know we're not just saying this for nothing. You know that we got the plug, and we're going to give you the discount. So go into Popstar and type in that code, boy. You know it's online forever. For not 10% off, 20% off. Can you believe it? Neither can we.
Big loads forever. Get them now.
Slurp them down.
Are you sure you want to post that? It's gonna be online forever.
Okay.
We're rolling.
We're rolling.
With a beautiful goddess.
I'm like actually kind of nervous. Why am I nervous right now? I just
always
like froze
nervous.
for a second.
Yeah, I know. We're always nervous. I'm nervous right now.
Okay.
I also haven't seen you in so long. We have the beautiful Indica Flower here today.
Blessing us.
That's me.
Doing her first podcast? No.
I mean, first sex worker led podcast, first
Period.
female led
First-
podcast.
yes.
Say that.
So it's your first podcast.
The only kind of
Yes, nothing before this ever counted. It's my first one.
Yay!
And you're coming just from a high energy convention, meeting lots of fans.
Highest energy convention.
How was the lighting in there?
Oh, awful.
Yeah.
It was so bad. Every photo looks horrendous. Like I actually was like about to crawl under the table. I couldn't.
You're like, I'm sorry to my fans.
It's like harsh lighting. There's shadows everywhere. It was rough. The professional photos look really good, like all the like adult all access or what the XBiz photos. But any fan photos, I'm like, this will really give me some self-confidence issues. But no, we pushed through. We're all right.
Is this your first X3?
It's my first X3. I've been to AVN.
Uh-huh.
I really don't usually do the convention stuff. I'm just so not a people person
Built for
enough
that.
Yeah, it's too much. But this year I'm really trying to push myself out of my comfort zone. And also I'm just so incredibly grateful to have all of this success. And so it's like the least, I feel like I can do is to show up for my people, my fans, and, be there and have those connections and have those conversations. And today I actually cried multiple times.
Oh,
Which was crazy. I just was not expecting that. But like, I had fans come up and say stuff that like, one of the fans was like, I've watched your journey and like, I just want to say I'm so proud of you for taking care of your body. And I'm like, just crying. And he's giving me crystal bracelets as gift, like just fucking incredible. And I had a few different people come up and say stuff like that. And it was really, it really like hit me.
Oh yeah, that makes me so
it makes me
emotional.
want to cry again. Like, cause you just forget like, or you don't realize, I guess, that I'm like, oh, they don't care about that. Oh, don't post that. They don't care. But like they do. They
You
do.
have such like healing
devoted
energy also. Like I feel like
that is
you've
such a
done a
compliment.
lot of
like, are you
healing
sure?
for people, even if you haven't met them,
Yeah, that is like such a compliment. And yeah, I don't, I often forget or just do not feel that way. So it was really cool to.
It comes across
that.
really clearly. Like even if I didn't know you in real life and I was just like observing you through a screen, it's just very genuine. And I think that's why
really
you have.
I don't know why I'm crying so much. I'm sorry. So if I start crying, just ignore me.
It's like it's obvious why you have such a devoted fan base because you're so real with them, and you take them on the journey with you.
God, I don't know what's happening.
You're like, can
to
you guys
me?"
stop talking about me?
Oh shit. I mean, yeah, that is such a compliment. I mean, I don't even know what to say because self-perception is such a weird thing, and I still have such like imposter syndrome, and so it's just so odd to hear that, and I'm like, okay, I need to like maybe give myself, some more credit and more grace. But I did come into this like wanting to be different and wanting to pave a new path and, be the woman in porn that other women can see and say, hey, I've never seen a woman that looked like me or that had a body like this or, you know, a real body. Like, it's just who's real, who's just a real person and not, you know, editing and photo and all the shit. Like, I know that I growing up watching porn, saw a lot of that and felt confused because I didn't look this way or my vagina didn't look this way or whatever, you know? So it's been such an honor to be able to come in and just be, you know, just to exist and show other people like, hey, you can also exist and we can all just exist and also like to have sex, you know?
Yeah.
So it is an honor to hear you guys say that. So
Has that been your mindset though, like when you started?
yeah, oh, absolutely.
Since you started?
I started like, and my assistant knows, but in high school, I was like kind of Tumblr famous for like naked yoga. And I was like,
Oh my God.
hardcore, which obviously was illegal because I was
Oh my God.
underage, which I did not disclose. My parents did know because they were getting phone calls from people around town. Yeah. And I was like big into the Free the Nipple campaign. I have it tattooed actually because they put me on their page, which I'm so sorry, Free the Nipple, but I was underage at the time.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, but I knew that like I felt really passionate about nudity. I felt passionate about women. I felt passionate about sexuality and feeling comfortable in your body, in your sexuality as a woman. And yeah, so I just kind of ended up on this journey, you know?
I also was underage naked on Tumblr. I'm not gonna lie.
Like, what was up with that?
I don't know. I
Also,
didn't.
not even the law can stop these nipples.
Not even. And I just didn't fucking tell anyone. But I'm pretty sure I'd be like, oh, just got back from school. And I'm like, no one's asking. I'm like a fucking sophomore in high school. And like, but you know, I'm still grateful. And it's not anyone's fault because I was the one who did it. Like nobody was encouraging this. It was all me.
Right. Yeah, it was a
all
solo
me.
mission. I feel that. Yeah, no one was like pressuring me to do it. It was all my idea. Yeah.
I'm calling the FBI right now.
I know. My parents were like, you need to stop doing naked yoga. And I was like, I'm not going to stop doing naked yoga. And we were at war for quite a while. But obviously we have worked it out. So
Are your parents like hippies too?
they are like modern day hippies. My dad, well, my mom. My dad is more of like very intellectual, not really spiritual, super history, science, all the above.
In that left brain.
Yeah, so I got like a really cool balance. Like I learned a lot of stuff from him, and then from my mom, it was like, yeah, full on all of that. And my grandma was like super hippie. My aunt was super hippie, and she had a big influence on my life. And so this was just part of my life. And then my family is all in agriculture, so as far as like the clean living and eating and, you know, living in touch with the land, like that stuff is like so deeply embedded in my DNA. I feel like I don't even have a choice of like whether to want to like it or not. It's just there. So
How are your chickens?
they're so good. They're so good. I'm so proud of them because we just had a freeze in Louisiana and they're still popping out eggs every single day. I'm
Oh
like,
my God, the
my girls work hard.
Mhm.
I call them my little like hookers. I'm the pimp and these are my ladies. You know? And then when they slow down on production, I'm like, you need to kick
Guys.
Yeah, get it together, girls.
Where's my money? Where's my eggs?
Yeah.
How many do you have?
I have 6.
6 chickens. Do they all have names?
They do. We have, I know. Of course they do. Oh, God, I feel kind of bad because well, okay, 3 of them are kind of newer and I'm not that attached to them yet. So their names are kind of shitty. But we have Lavender, Daisy, or is it Dahlia? Something like that. I'm like, oh my God, I don't even fucking
My
know
children.
chickens' names. No, well, Lavender's the one I'm really connected to. So like I kind of, she's like she's my girl. I have a little purple marker on her ankle so that I always know like which one's her.
Are they all Rhode Island Reds?
No, I have 3 Leghorns, 2 Lavender Orpingtons, and 1 Silky.
Oh, what's a lavender Orpington? Are they like
They're
literally
giant, gray, kind of purple hueish, and they're like one of the biggest chickens.
purple?
Like,
And they're like the
fucking
sitters,
huge.
right? Like they'll sit on the eggs.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
It's been cool. It's
do you have
really
a lot of extra eggs? Or you?
But well, between me, like my household, and then my parents, and then my uncle and aunt, between all of us, it
It's
evens
enough
out
eggs.
pretty good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Did
it's
I
cool
see-
to be able to like provide the eggs for my family. you
That's
know?
so
Yeah.
cute.
It's cool. Yeah.
Are you moving to Florida?
I am moving to Florida.
That's
and
wild.
I know. I never I don't know if I ever really knew or thought that I was going to end up doing that, but I've spent so much time there and I do feel super connected to it. It's very similar to Louisiana. And I'm a big paddle boarder. That's like my main Susie knows. So it's gonna be quite an upgrade from the fucking lakes in Baton Rouge. But yeah, it's gonna be really difficult, and that's why it's a long process because like me and my family are so close, and
They're all in Louisiana.
yeah, within like 10 minutes of me.
Oh
like,
my God.
My mom has 5 siblings, and we're all like within a few miles, so it's very hard to leave that, you know. So it's gonna be a tough one.
Is it for work mostly?
Actually, not really. I mean, that is a perk. Yes, I will get to work without having to travel more because I do travel so much for fun that it's becoming like a problem to like balance. Like, okay, you can't do 3 vacations and like you have to be home at some point. So what are you doing? You know, like, so it will be nice to be able to cut down on travel and only really travel for fun and just be able to work. But really it's for like the springs and the ocean and also just Florida itself. I really like Florida. So.
Where are you moving there?
Wait, where?
Yeah.
So I haven't really decided yet. I'm going to be buying my second house there, and I'm going to keep my house in Baton Rouge, but anywhere within 2 hours of Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
So looking at like West Palm.
What about Jupiter?
Jupiter's
so cool.
Okay, the one house on fucking Zillow that I am like deeply in love with and will maybe kill myself if it sells is in Jupiter. And
I love it
it's
there.
so fucking adorable. Yeah, Jupiter's like definitely top on the list.
And like it just makes sense.
Oh my God.
you would live in Jupiter.
Me and Jupiter. Like,
yeah.
what the fuck? Like what? Oh yeah. I'm really excited and I'm very scared. You know, it's a big thing. I've lived in Louisiana my whole life. And I'm very like connected to Louisiana.
Yeah, you
and
ride
a
hard
deep
for
city.
Baton Rouge too.
I do ride hard for Baton Rouge. I'm a 225 girly
Mhm.
forever. And so I'm like, am I a traitor? Like, how do you I don't know how to be a 225 girl and be somewhere else. Like Broward County. Am I gonna be a Broward County girl now?
Broward County.
Like 772? Oh God, I don't know. You know, it's weird. And I do feel a little bit of like a betrayal that I'm leaving because I do know Baton Rouge and Louisiana as a whole struggles to move forward in this society. And so it's like,
Don't worry, Florida does too.
I know. And then I'm moving to another fucked up place. I'm like, God. But I am oddly comfortable in the South. I mean, you know, if I was in LA and everyone was like liberal, I'd be like, I hate this.
I was watching your video yesterday and I was like, oh my God, Pinnacle Mountain. And then I was like, oh, because I'm from Arkansas.
Oh my God, you are? Oh my.
Yes.
So, yeah, my best friend lived in like outside of Little Rock and I spent so much time there and that's where I got my
Little old
injury.
TBI.
Yeah. On
Yeah.
Pinnacle Mountain.
I thought it was going to be a fun story. Then I was like, this is a scary
Oh, no,
story.
It's
I'm
actually like kind
so
of rough.
sorry.
Yeah. Sorry you had to go through that.
And I'm sorry
through that journey.
for you too.
I'm sorry if my TBI story
TBI
affected
do.
today.
The TBI was not TMI. We're good.
Yeah, okay. Great. Yeah. It was my YouTube video.
Yes.
Yeah, that was rough. That was a really rough time. Poor Susie. I like canceled on her on a million different occasions. I was fucking going through it, so I'm sorry about that.
No, it's fine. I mean, our original meeting was so special. It was honestly lasted until now. I'm just so happy to see you again.
I know. Honored to be in your presence.
Yay. We had a good time.
We did. We had a great time. And that
I've seen
scene
it.
is so fucking loved by people.
I know.
The millions of views show how great of a time we had.
I know. People love that scene. And for good reason. I mean, we were just so excited.
We were giggling so yeah, it's definitely my giggliest scene because I was just like so nervous. Yeah, it was really funny. It was very authentic. I would say that because I was like shitting my pants. I was so nervous because I had like I don't like fangirl. I don't really have people that I'm like I don't watch YouTube star. I don't do any of that. But Susie, I have seen. I know, and it's so weird because like I had seen her on TikTok in that fucking silver little weird alien outfit doing
that was the one.
doing the little space girl dance, and I was like, "Who is she?" And then I couldn't let you go. So I'm like, I kind of sound like a stalker, but I was like, I need her, you know.
I remember you posted on Twitter like, if I don't collab with her in 2021, I'm gonna kill somebody.
myself. Yeah, I know it was that crucial.
And I was like, oh my God.
I came a little strong there, a little strong. Yeah.
No, I was so excited. Like, I just couldn't believe that you felt that strongly. I mean, it might be a part of like that queer girl magnetism.
It was it was totally your energy, like full on. I was like, because like, yes, you're stunning, obviously, but it wasn't even from a physical place. I just like, I couldn't stop watching her videos.
No.
Yeah, it was just
Energetic.
something. And I was like, I need to know this person. So
wow.
I know. And then like, of course I met you and I felt so connected. I'm like, it's so weird, but I'm just like, like, I love I love you as a person. I really do. And so
yeah, it was an immediate like melt into you know,
Yeah.
just genuine friendship, which is just so great. Because sometimes you have a feeling about somebody
And it does
online
not
and then it
fucking
just
go-
doesn't line
Oh,
up.
you know all about that, don't you?
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
I do.
I've been through it, girlfriend.
Yes.
I know, and
yes,
it's weird. I've
have.
seen like all of that. Like it's just
It
funny 'cause
happened
you-
like right after we
yeah,
did that.
It's so
scene,
weird
too.
how all of that has
Mhm.
progressed.
How do you feel about like, because I feel like you are kind of like not in the porn scene,
I know,
kind of on
it's weird.
purpose, maybe because
For sure.
yeah,
Like,
because
keep me out of here.
Yeah, keep me out of there. Yeah. I feel you. And being in, I don't know, LA can be isolating in its own way. But I just, when I first entered the industry, I was like, oh my God, these are my people. Like, I've never felt so
It's
understood.
weird. You do-
And then
it
it was a 180.
skirt.
I was like, oh,
skirt.
a lot of these people are not my people. And they do not have good intentions for me. And like, they don't like
It's
me.
very difficult. Yeah, I know. It's so difficult to like sift through all of it. And I think honestly, I've been kind of like lucky a little bit because I have stayed away. So I
Mhm.
haven't had to do a whole lot of it, but I see shit. I see
Mhm.
shit. I peep shit. And
Mhm.
I'm like, oh my God, this is fucked.
Mhm.
Especially like with your situation too. And I've experienced that in my personal life, especially in the last fucking year. But I think, yeah, it's just rough. It's just
Yeah.
rough. I mean, people are still people at the end of the day, no matter how progressive or free that industry is or that community is, people are still people.
And
people are
honestly,
flawed.
I just don't think most porn people are that progressive. I think the majority of
also
people.
so true.
Well, yeah,
'cause a
they-
lot of them are conservative as
Yes,
fuck, let me
because they
just
want to make
say.
money. Like that's why a lot
They're
of people are in the
capitalists?
industry.
It's
yeah.
really strange. I'm like, I'll be talking to someone and then I'm like, oh, you love Trump?
Literally.
I thought you were a porn star. What? Like, oh, I'm confused. Like, I
Yeah.
was unprepared for that part, I will say.
Yeah, a lot. I feel like a lot of the OG like mainstream porn girlies they're wearing the red hats, babe.
I'm like, I don't know how I feel about, like, there's got to be some, I'm going to be so offensive. I'm trying.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
I'm like trying to not be. There's got to be some hypocrisy, right? Like, or is that,
Well, I feel like we're all coming at it from this approach of being like having entered it to be liberated and to like
Mhm.
be socially accepted by a group of people. But a lot of people get into it because I mean, the money's great and we benefit from it in that way too. But when that becomes like your sole focus, it literally just changes you as a person.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
like the
Yeah.
radical like Marxist feminist turned to an absolute capitalist.
Yeah.
You know? Like, and I feel like in the beginning like one of my friends was like, why do you care so much about money? Like you were just working as a social worker and now like the thing that's bringing you joy is the fact that you're making more money than you did before. And I was like, damn, you're so right. Like it's just,
Well,
it's not the
it's not the
goal.
money.
It's
I mean,
the
money-
freedom.
It's the freedom. And that's what I literally posted like a thing the other day that was saying how like, it was someone else's TikTok video, but it was like, she was just saying how money, the best thing that it's brought was freedom, freedom of her time and energy. And like that, I was like, that's exactly what I've been trying to say, but couldn't quite figure out how to like verbalize it. And that's it. Like, yes, money, sure. You get a house, you can have these things, but really it's the choice every day to wake up and say, what do I want to do today?
Yes. And for some people, the answer is make more money. And that I feel like is where it gets really fucking
Yeah,
depressing. It's
I'm
like,
way too lazy. And lazy is not even the right term because it's not laziness per se. Obviously, I got here, so I haven't been able to be that fucking lazy.
right.
But I want to enjoy life. I want to bask in life, and so I'm trying to find ways to stabilize and keep longevity in my career, but to have even more freedom. Which I have somehow miraculously set it up how I have to where I don't shoot that much and have made that work for me. But I definitely too, as time goes on, I'm like, okay, like, I don't know. I put a lot of pressure on myself to like do what everyone else is doing. And then I'm like, okay, but they're not living the life that you like.
right.
I have to remember I made the sacrifices I felt comfortable making, but like there is a line for me.
yeah.
I feel like I've been experiencing the joys of having worked my ass off and like not really having understood what was driving it. But now I have this huge like mass of content and I'm sure you do too. And you get to just keep reselling that stuff, and it's awesome. Like, it really provides you some freedom after your first couple of
Oh,
years
for
in the
sure.
industry.
Yeah.
And you can really like focus on quality over quantity in this
Mhm.
business if you have the right fan base. And I think we're all really grateful for the fan bases that we have individually because
That
Absolutely.
we've
they'll just-
cultivated. Yeah.
It's
over time, over years and years, you know.
how they've built. Yeah, it's incredible. And I know at least for I've like found when I've like invested tons of time and money like into a scene, it doesn't always do that well.
Mhm.
Like I found that authentic stuff does way better, you know, which is interesting.
In porn and social media, like across the board,
in
your
life,
mind.
in your social
Yes.
life, like, in your romantic relationship, it's just always should be the focus.
So I started porn in June 2019 and my first video went viral. And then like from there, it was like this crazy fucking whirlwind. And then COVID hit right after AVN, my first AVN.
It's kind of like dream career.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
like
shockingly,
the
yes,
dream.
because it sounds kind of bad, but it actually worked out for me because it like gave me time to build this like super solid like community and foundation of fans. And then like everything after, I mean, my fans are so supportive. It like really does make me want to cry because they're incredibly supportive. And like literally whatever I want to do, they're fucking along for the ride and they don't care and they're down for it. Like, and I mean, I'm just incredibly blessed and I need to remind myself of that more often. And this expo actually really did like bring, that's like what I got out of it.
Yeah, that's why
Holy
you're here.
fuck. I'm so
Yeah.
grateful, you know?
I know that you both have talked to me separately about mainstream shoots kind of being like maybe no because of the amount of tattoos you guys have. Do you think that mainstream people and those types of dudes that are like in power in those places, do you think that you experienced more like discrimination, I guess, about your tattoos or about your hair?
I don't know because I kind of got a little bit like lucky in a way because when I first started and I first was getting signed, everyone was like, no one's going to shoot her. No one's going to shoot her. Like it was like this whole thing.
Mhm.
And then obviously my video
First
went viral,
video.
and all of a sudden they're like, we'll pay whatever her rate is. Like, what is her rate? Can we get her on set today? And I'm like, oh, no. And so I set boundaries pretty quickly with that. So I did have the initial discrimination like thing. But since then, it's really been fine. The only company that will not shoot me is Blacked and their whole brand. Oh, sorry.
Mm.
Like, so Blacked, Tushy, which I don't do anal, but what's their other?
Slade.
Yes, they will not shoot me. And that is a damn shame because my fans post every fucking day, black.
Yeah.
I love black men and black everyone. I love everyone. But, you know, yeah. So I am very disappointed in that. I can imagine why they're not going to shoot me. I have my own opinions about that. I think it's, how are you profiting off of black men, but somehow me and my hair and my aesthetic is just too cultural for you? I find that real odd.
Interesting.
If you're profiting off of these people,
Mhm.
like, but they're profiting off of a sick racial fetish.
Yeah.
So, and which I don't have any problem with any fetishes in porn, you know, like step bro stuff. Like I know people hate it. I don't fucking care. Everyone's got their shit. I'm down for whatever. Like honestly, but I do have a problem when like, because also like the marketing is like, it's just I'm trying not to
Yeah.
say too much.
We had King Noir on here and he was saying that
yeah.
he was saying that I was like, is there any instance where kink shaming is important? And he was like, yes. He was like, there is no such thing as a racial kink or racial fetish because you can't, a type of person can't be a fetish, right?
You can have a type, you
Right.
know, but it's not a fetish. It's not a kink. I know. It's a rough, yeah. I remember, sorry.
Just a little
My bad. I remember when I started in the industry, there were girls that actually charged more for interracial
Yeah.
scenes.
crazy.
And in my head, I'm like, you should charge based on dick size. Like if someone has a 13-inch dick, like, hell yeah, you need to give me an extra $500, you know, because I'm going to be sore for a week.
Right.
So it was weird to me because I'm like, wait, why would you charge more because someone's a different race?
Yeah.
What the fuck does that mean? And that rubbed me bad. Like I did
Mhm.
not like that. I thought that was very odd.
That was not that long ago.
Right. I'm
At
like,
all.
back in the 70s, but this
No,
was like
literally, it was like-
yesterday or last
Yeah.
Tuesday, maybe. But I'm so far removed. I do have like a really like kind of unrealistic
Warped.
time frame of, yeah.
Yeah.
I just remember knowing about that when I was shooting more and was more involved, which would have been in like 2019, 2020. And I was shook. I was really shook. The big dick thing, I think is a great idea. And I think we should really start doing that. Because unless you're like, you've got a great vagina and you can take, well, all vaginas are great, but unless you're just a monster and can take massive cocks, I'm like, I'm going to have to charge you extra for that big old thing, you know?
Mhm.
At least for me, because I'm
Yeah.
very...
She's a lesbian, okay?
Yeah.
Wait, you can't expect a whole lot from me. I mean,
Right.
I don't have practice at home, so I'm like, when I shoot a scene, I literally am like, I'm losing my virginity right now. Like, it really does feel like that sometimes. And then I've had guys be concerned. They're like, you're like really tight, and I'm like,
your hymen is
I
still
thought this
intact.
was supposed to be a good thing. Like, y'all talk about tight pussy, and now all of a sudden it's a problem. I'm like I remember a guy looked at me and was like, your pussy's really tight. I was like, can you like smile a little more when you say
Yeah.
it?
Right.
And then he did it again too. He was like, it's really wet. Good. And then he said, good for you.
Oh.
I was like, I don't know what's happening here, but I guess thank
He's like, I'm gay too. I'm gonna keep it real.
Right, what's going on here?
Yeah, I feel like guys who like really fuck, they know that they don't want an extremely tight pussy because you can't really
actually,
fuck.
you can't.
Mhm.
I know. And I do. I'm like, I'm really sorry. You know, I'm like whisper to him. I'm like, just shove it in. I'll be fine. You know, because I'm like, it is tight. Like I know. Growing up, I always thought you're supposed to have a tight pussy, and now all of a sudden I'm in bad tight pussy category. I'm like, this is fucked. You know, surgery for that. Like, damn. But
my
I mean, I
God,
could
wild.
do like stretching and stuff, but that just sounds like a lot of shit I don't want to do.
It's pristine in there.
Yeah, I mean that is one
Virgin
of the yeah for perma-verge.
Wait, I love that. Perma-verge puss. Okay. That's my new brand. Watch out. I'm going to trademark right now. Shireen, you hear that?
Get on GoDaddy. That is one of the many things that I admire about you is that you are very open about being a lesbian,
Yeah.
and it's not like you're kind of putting on this facade and then like secretly being gay.
Which I was clearly and forcefully advised that I needed to go that way in my
crazy.
career. And I said, absolutely fucking not. I'm not going to build a life or a career for myself where I'm not myself. Like, there's no fucking way. Like, yes, everyone has a bit of a persona that you have to add into this job, but at the core of Indica Flower is me.
Mhm.
It is me. I mean,
Yeah.
all the way. And so, yeah, that just felt so wrong to me. And like, also, if I have to lie to you to help your ego for us to shoot a scene, then you're not even a good performer and you fucking shouldn't be here. Like, if you can't look, yeah, because I know I'm a good fucking performer and I can typically make it through anything and still put on a great fucking show and make an incredible movie. So if you cannot also do that, then you're just not, then we don't need to be,
We're not
we don't need
compatible,
to be working
babe.
together. Yeah. And I also find it important to show that you can be a lesbian and do straight sex work,
Yeah.
you know?
You're a gold star like besides porn, right?
Well,
Okay.
no, actually. I
Oh.
did have two boyfriends in high school.
Mhm.
So, but then since high school, the sex I've had with men has been
Filmed
in trade. Oh, well,
or yeah.
not always filmed.
Professional.
Professional.
Yeah.
Professional sex. Because I was a stripper, and
Uh-huh.
during those years, they were, some interesting years, and
Mhm.
yeah, was running some game.
Yeah.
Running some game in that club. So, yeah. Yeah, the sex I had with men was for...
Was your club like people kept it on the low, or like you guys could talk about it? Were people weird about it there?
I had never worked at a club where you could openly talk about it.
Uh-huh.
At all. Yeah, I'd probably say no.
Yeah.
I worked at a lot of different clubs, but I never experienced a club where like that was
Encouraged.
a lot. No. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's illegal. So, at least down here. Well, not down here.
The club
LA,
I've
in
only
Louisiana.
worked like heavily at one club, and it was like completely built for full service in every fucking way. Like you could get a lap dance in a private room with a girl for 40 fucking like it was just easy. But then the owners and the managers would like shame the fuck out of you, but then they would like also profit off of it. It was like very weird, like horror shame.
I never experienced that. Everything that was done was outside the club. Like it was never, which
Never at the
Oh, nice.
dangerous.
Yeah.
More dangerous. But
Yeah, the strip clubs, I mean, we all had experience in them. I was reading an old journal entry where I was like, it was right when COVID hit, and I was like, I miss stripping so much. My the best job I've ever had. And like, I did really feel that way because it was the first time I ever experienced like financial freedom.
Yeah. Liberation in a lot of ways.
In a lot of ways, yeah.
Yeah. Stripping it changed my life.
Just like counting the money at the end of the night was just the best.
God, I still feel that
ever. Oh my God. I would count it like 4 different times.
For me, I'm like, yeah. Oh no, it was amazing. And I'm a natural born exhibitionist since the day I came out of the womb. Like my poor fucking parents, they are so supportive, but fuck, like they have had to deal. I was dancing on cafeteria tables in high school that for quarters. Dead ass. Like my high school teachers are like, oh yeah, we knew that was coming.
Yeah.
In 6th grade, I told everyone that I was going to be a stripper when I wanted to grow up. Like that was my goal. And so I know, God. But so getting on stage in the strip club was a rush that no fucking man-made drug, nothing on this earth will ever compare to. And I think about it often.
Yeah.
I do.
It is.
I don't want to do it again.
Right.
But I do think about it and I miss it dearly.
The performing part is like one of the best parts of the job, if not the best.
Oh God. Yeah. Being on stage was just, and yeah, I was so passionate about it. It really was a great time period, but also a lot of struggling.
Oh yeah.
A lot of assault.
Yeah.
A lot of lessons learned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're like thrown into the jungle.
Oh yeah.
And you're on your own.
And there's jaguars everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah, it was pretty intense.
Yeah, you learn like business savvy in the club for sure.
Yeah, and also just how to fucking defend yourself.
Yeah.
It's like physically assaulting and like
Oh,
defending
yeah.
yourself. Men, women.
Oh yeah.
Not
Sometimes,
proud of my
sometimes women in clubs are the worst. Like they just
they
feel like
an entitlement
because they're a woman that it's
comfortable.
okay that they can like just grab you any way they want or like try to take your panties off while you're
shove their
trying
fucking.
to dance.
I've been through some shit.
The
I've had
woo
people
girls
lick
at the club. You've had what?
I had a man literally lick my butthole when I was like bent over during a lap dance. I experienced some crazy stuff.
How did he accomplish that so quickly?
Don't fucking put it.
He had like a heat-seeking tongue, bro.
Yeah. Well, they had the lap dance booth chair things were lower, so when you stood up, your butt was face level.
Oh wow.
Yeah, kind of stupid. Like they were really, really pretty low. So it was rough. I went through a lot in the strip club. I'm grateful for what it gave me. But yeah, there was a lot of struggle. I mean, even the money is inconsistent. I mean, you might make a lot of money at some point, but there's times where I was really struggling. I mean, full on, like, did not have money. And that motivated me. I was like, fuck, I cannot do this. Like, I was really struggling.
I remember going into COVID, it was the most I'd ever had in my bank account because it was my, end of my 5 months stripping or whatever. I had like $5,000 and I was like, this is gonna hold me out for the whole pandemic.
Oh, fucking God.
It was great.
Wow.
I was very proud.
That's so funny. I also had like the biggest bank account
savings
around, I think like $5,000 too, right when COVID hit. And I was like, this is perfect for me. And then we got that $1,200 check and I was like,
I never got a stimulus check.
Oh, no. What?
No, because I made too much.
Oh.
I was already doing porn and OnlyFans, so I think I was.
They didn't send it to you?
I thought everyone got
the 1,200.
The 1,200.
I was talking about. I got one. Yes, I got one 1,200, but the stimulus.
I didn't get.
Yeah, I didn't get any like. Everyone else was getting $600 or like 200 or something. They were getting a weekly or monthly stipend, and I never got it.
Yeah,
and I was like,
yeah,
I get that you're saying I make too much, but like also this is a global pandemic. Like what the fuck? Like, and I pay buku taxes, so what the fuck? Like I don't know. I felt like I was a little unfair, but whatever. I'm letting it go. That was years ago. So.
Yeah,
I was still mad about it.
It's crazy that like making unemployment was the most amount of money I had ever made in my life. I was getting like $700 a week.
That's what it was.
And I was like, this is crazy. And then and I was building my OnlyFans at the time. So it was like actually the perfect like cushion. And then as soon as I started making money, I just went off unemployment. And it was just like, I was just like, wow. Like,
dream life.
Thank you so much, universe. I guess global
grateful.
trauma. But
I know it was rough. COVID was crazy. It was. And I hate saying this because I don't want to be insensitive because I know that it destroyed like so many people's lives. But for someone who loves to stay home
We were
loves
just
nature.
talking
just
about
discussing
this.
this. Yeah.
I mean, I had the whole like fucking state of Louisiana to myself. People
Yeah.
weren't going anywhere, but I was outside
You were just
every day.
paddleboarding.
Oh my god, girl, I
Woo!
was paddleboarding through COVID. I mean, that's how I got through. Like it was incredible. It really was kind of that's so fucked to say. Just for me in the situation I was in, it was kind of a magical time and it felt very unreal because it was apocalyptic. I mean, everything was, I had no idea what was happening. And I'm a fucked up person. So for me, that was like, fuck yeah. Like, I was living out my like Walking Dead dreams every day. I'm like, a zombie's gonna pop out at any second, you know, which is so fucked. And I'm really sorry if I do.
I think a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah.
And I think that COVID, in spite of, you know, the terrible death toll and people having a lot of financial issues, I think it brought up a lot of things that society needed to look at. And
Very true. And even in myself too, like on a personal
yes.
like I say, oh, it was magical, but guess what? I had to reintegrate and I still haven't. Like I'm still really stressed. Like I never had social anxiety a day in my life. And now, I mean, oh my God, like it's bad. I mean, it like sensitized me because I was home. I didn't have to go out. I didn't have to be around people. And then I did have to get back in the real world and it's been fucking rough. And I've had so many, like just the years since then. I mean, I've been open on social media about like, you know, my struggle with like my eating disorder and the brain injury and the physical stuff that's come from that. And yeah, it's been a fucking doozy. Like the last 5 years have just been, it's like they've been amazing at career wise, but like
personal life
wise,
hard.
they're kind of been a little crazy,
Well,
up and down.
that equal opposite.
And it
always
is. And I'm like,
exists.
I don't know. Would I have it any other way? I don't know. Keeps me on my fucking toes.
Yeah. So the injury, would you describe that as a near-death experience?
I don't know if I'd say near death because I knew that I wasn't going to, well, I didn't know I wasn't going to die until I was like, obviously awake on the ground.
Right, but on the way down, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even have like a conscious, like I just let go. I just let go.
Can you imagine if you didn't have your dreads?
I know. I would have cracked my fucking head open.
Wow.
Yeah.
My God.
My girlfriend at the time was like traumatized because she tried to grab my dreads on the way down, but she didn't want to rip it out of my head. And she was climbing under me. So she watched me fall past her. And she literally was like, did not speak for like 24 hours. Like it was bad. And then the friends that were with me too. And like, it's funny because I was 21, I think, or 20. And so after I fell, I like hopped up and was like, oh, I'm fine. Cause I was like embarrassed. I'm like, oh my God, that was so cringe. Like I just fell off a cliff. That is embarrassing. And so I'm like, oh no, I'm good. And I start taking a few steps and I was like, y'all have to take me to the hospital right now. And they're all just shocked that I'm standing up and I'm just like, oh my God, that was like so crazy. Sorry you had to see that, you know? And then, so they drove me to the hospital and it was so embarrassed. I'm still so embarrassed, but also like, fuck, that was really bad. I know, I'm so fucked up that I'm like, oh my God, that was really embarrassing. Like, but it was. And then I had no idea because I was like young and just stupid. I didn't know the effects that it was going to have. So I did not do what I should have done. I should have immediately been in with a neurologist. I was like, oh, concussion. Everyone gets those. Like, no big deal, you know? In the hospital, they were only worried about my bladder popping because I had landed on my back and your bladder sits on your backside. So they were really worried that I'd ruptured it. So they were checking internal organs. They knew that I had a concussion, but like, you know, most people are like, oh, go home, whatever. But then I got post-concussion syndrome.
What's that?
It's pretty much like long concussion. So after you have microabrasions in your brain tissue, right? Which changes your synapses. So it leaves a very large margin for error. So that, you know, you have scar tissue now on your brain. So like all of a sudden lights were bothering me. I could not drive. It just kind of like dysautonomia or autonomy. It's like where your nervous system is kind of just like fried. And so I struggled really bad for that first year. And then it like kicked off this crazy anorexia thing that I've like,
really?
I'm like this crazy thing called anorexia.
But it started after that or it worsened?
It worsened. I had definitely already had some problems with that, but this was like a whole different level. What I've experienced the last, even like a year ago, like at 2022, I was like, it was real bad.
That's so, I hate to say interesting, but
no, but it is. Yeah,
fascinating
the brain
that your
is
brain
so crazy, and
people think that anorexia is like a choice
A
in a lot of
diet.
ways. Yeah,
Like, it's
exactly.
not.
And it's like
No,
it's
it's
also
not.
very like
I
it's
wanted to
heritable. It's genetic. It's like
There's a lot involved. Yeah, it was bad.
Do you think like a part of it was with the traumatic brain injury, you felt like you had a big loss of control?
Absolutely.
So like it
Absolutely.
in anorexia and eating disorders and a
Control.
lot of things are all about control. So
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
1000%. I was trying to grasp at whatever I could, but
Mhm.
but it was even deeper than that though, because like there were times where like yes, I did like the losing, like it was a sick thing with losing weight and you know people like I did like that, but I also wanted to like I was so hungry, like I was literally I could not barely get out of bed. The summer of 2022, I was agoraphobic. I did not leave my house for like almost 4 months because I was starving to death and I was the lowest weight I had ever been. I was completely emaciated and I could barely get around. And like all this time, I'm also upkeeping Instagram and I didn't tell anyone. So until that YouTube video, nobody fucking knew what was happening. And I was just like trying to juggle, but then people started calling me out. And that's why the YouTube video got made, which I'm glad it did. But at the time, like I would have never told anyone that shit was happening. But people started thinking I was on drugs because I had lost so much weight. And I'm obviously have to post. That's what I do. And people are like, why are you looking like that? And then I wasn't working. I wasn't showing up to things. Like I was canceling everything. And so people were like starting,
Is
the
she
excuses
okay?
ran out.
Yeah.
People were really starting to question what was going on. And so I finally felt like I just need to be honest. You know, I just need to be honest. But I was very nervous about that. I was really embarrassed. Because I do live this like healthy, authentic, clean life, but I'm also sick, you know, like, and so that's very hard to like come to terms with for myself, but then also to go tell the world that it was very embarrassing.
I think like having a public persona the way that we all do sometimes in order to start like healing from something in a way to like kind of, I don't know, come to terms with something yourself is to like share it online. Because I feel like you really started your healing journey after kind of like coming out
and it's
about
fucking
it all.
crazy that you say that because I did. It really did open the door. And even my assistant knows, like I was so terrified of like, I don't know what I even thought. For some reason, my brain was like, the world will end if you tell people this. Like if you let people see that you have these issues, like it's over. And then I did it and I was like, oh my God, I'm free. Like,
Yeah.
And then it was actually like maybe 2 months later that I started in anorexia recovery. And I have been in recovery for over, I think it's a year and a half right now.
Wow.
I'm currently in outpatient for it. So I'm working with practitioners because, you know, I sadly have long lasting health effects from it. Which once again, I don't know why I didn't consider like, hey, starving will cause health, but I didn't. And so now I'm like, what the fuck? No one tells you that when you're starving and you want to be skinny. Like,
It's not your primary concern.
well, right. Yeah. I was just, yeah, I know there's a lot of other shit going on, but now I'm like, oh, this like really destroyed, like I have some stuff. So I'm, you know, going through that part now and it's fucking rough. And also I've gained more weight than I wasn't a healthy weight before I lost even more weight. So I've gained my weight back and some. And being in this industry, you know, like this is it, all of it. So I'm having to bear that to the world. Like this expo was even so hard because like this is my, you know, first time in a long time being around so many industry people and also my first time in a body that is nourished. And like I'm not comfortable in a nourished body at all. So it has been a struggle. It has been a rough few years. But I'm happy to be here.
We're proud of you, sweetie.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you.
so
And
sweet.
like multiple
doing
fans
it.
said that too. And like that's so crazy to me that they even give a fuck. Like I'm so grateful and so grateful to be here and to be healthy and to even be on any sort of journey of getting better, you know? And yeah, I'm grateful. And you know, it was rough and it took what it took, but like happy to be here and happy that Susie still talks to me even though I like canceled.
Oh
things
my
like that.
God.
I literally would be like up at night like she's going to think I'm so weird. I just had such bad anxiety. It was so
No,
bad.
Not at all. And I was with you that day when you had to go home and I was like I'm good now. I have a free day. Like there was no,
It's like, I'm off work. Fuck you.
right, exactly. And I got the makeup done too, so I was like, I look good.
Going to
and
take some
I'm-
pics and
Yeah.
get that home.
Yeah,
I know.
exactly.
And I'm the same way. When someone cancels, I'm like, oh, that's horrible. I'm like running home.
Yeah, I love a cancellation. I would
Oh,
never
God.
get upset about
Comes up
that
to me
stuff,
everything
ever,
just
ever.
canceled all. It's bad. I'm like, you need to fucking show up. But yeah, thank you for sticking by me through it. I
Oh my
really
God,
do
girl, don't
appreciate
even worry
it.
about it.
And it did show me that who actually values me for like me on a real level, because people who don't cannot handle any sort of if you're
It's like,
not.
oh, you were just trying to squeeze my juice from me.
Yeah,
Like, and that's really all you cared about.
I mean, I lost everyone. I mean, oh yeah, it's been crazy couple years.
It's interesting that you said like you're not comfortable in a nourished body, because I do.
fucked up is that?
I know, it's hard. It's like so interesting that we have a hard time letting go of suffering because we become so comfortable in it. And then like your comfort zone is suffering and then you're feeling better. But it's like it's
physically, I
hard
feel
to-
so much better.
Yeah.
I am more healthy. I eat better and I'm more active than I've ever been in my entire life. My entire 26 years of life. And yet I'm like, I have a stomach roll. I have a fucking stomach roll. Like, I can't handle, and like it's great. My fans are like, your tits are fucking huge and your ass is fat. And I'm like, I know. But I also love it. It's such a strange, there's logic and then there's eating disorder. And I've learned to separate it and to acknowledge like, okay, that's not me and that's not my brain. That's my eating disorder. And yeah.
I hear the same echoes of that a lot with like people who are sober, and it's like
Well, I'm
hard
also
to-
sober too.
Yeah,
I'm like,
but
fuck
you're
me,
doing
man.
all the shit.
I mean, yeah, why? God, that shows a tough path. I mean,
But yeah, I think it's hard to just like have a new, healthier experience for sure.
I know. And it is interesting because I struggled with addiction for almost 10 years and then got sober, immediately launched into, and you know what? This is like new info for the public. So here you go. Launched into like sex addiction, pretty much. Used it to my advantage to create sex work. And then when I settled down from that, eating disorder. And so I'm like I'm finally seeing,
kinda just-
A little
it's
pattern.
patterns. Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, so you're an addict. Like you're an addict to the core. Genetically, it's there. And I need to find a way to coexist, with that. And so that's kind of what I'm working on.
You're
right now.
discovering.
Yeah.
Well, being aware of a sex addiction as a sex worker, you're far
And I'm
ahead of a
not
lot of
old.
people.
I am out of that now. Yeah, that was like in the beginning, like when I was stripping, and then like right at the beginning of porn, and
That'll
my
run
body
you down.
Count went skyrocketed that year. I was fucking any bitch. Oh, I'm so sorry. Any woman.
lady.
Any lady in sight. I was like just racking it up. I was also like a young gay too. So I was like, I need to fuck every kind of woman on this planet. And I fucking did.
Yeah.
So now I've got a real nice view of what I like. I will say that. But also I fucked a lot of people that I like didn't even want to fuck,
Yeah.
It's very odd.
What is your type of girl? Like you can do like sexually or romantically or whatever type of way, if they're different.
I love all girls, but sexually and physically, I like all girls. Romantically, I do go for like more dominant women, like masculine presenting women. But sexually, I all the above.
Yeah.
All the above.
She's
But
a-
yeah, I do. Oh, yeah, I fucking love women. I mean, it's like when I talk to people who like don't believe in being gay, I'm like, I wish y'all could feel what I feel because this shit is genetic. Like this is like in my cells, like something cellular. I am gay. Like I want to reproduce with a woman. Like it is so, it's weird. Like I feel like, yeah, it's very weird. I don't know. So I'm like, y'all think that, but I'm telling you right now, it exists.
There's
because I
people that
feel
don't
it.
believe in gayness.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I live in the deep south.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I know that they don't like it, but they don't believe in it.
Oh no, they literally think that like you're only like maybe that the devil kind of convinced you or that you're like on the wrong path. They don't think you're actually gay. Like being gay doesn't
I see what you're
exist.
saying. I see what
Your
you're saying.
actions, it's an action. It's not a state of being. Like it's
Got
not a
it.
preference. It's an action. So they just think you're misguided. You've
Or
been
possessed.
influenced by the oh yeah, pretty much possessed.
You just need to go to church camp.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that'll solve it all, right? And you'll get like, molested, and yeah, that'll really do it. I'm like, if this is fucking sinning, or if this is wrong, then I am all fucking in. Like,
Yeah.
give it to me.
Mhm.
You know, I've never. Yeah, I'll take it.
I used to feel so. 'Cause I grew up Catholic, and like I was always
to Catholic school.
super gay.
Well,
yeah.
for most of my childhood.
Mm-hmm. And like watching stuff, I used to like rewind parts of movies where you could like see it side boob or whatever. Like I was just all about it, and then I would like just be so distracted, and then be in church and being like, oh my god, like I should not be here. Like everybody knows that I rewound that movie. Like
God knows he watched me masturbate. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird.
Mhm.
I had a little problem with lack of shame, so I didn't go through
Oh.
that. Yeah, right. That's kind of how I ended up here. But I didn't go through that aspect of it, although I very much should have. But I was also doing the naked yoga. Like there, I was real. I actually got banned from the 8th grade trip because I purposefully, I was a flyer on the cheerleading team.
Okay.
And it was a pep rally for the entire school, and I purposefully didn't wear my bloomers so that everyone could see my purple leopard print thong.
Not to.
And I slayed. I fucking slayed because I did a
How did
straddle
they
in the
know that
air.
you did that on purpose? Like
Oh, okay. Well, this wasn't like the first incident. I mean, this was after like years
a
of
repeat
incidents.
offender.
Oh, I'm a repeat offender. I actually got banned from sitting next to boys because I was getting fingered under the table at recess in 7th grade. So I had to sit across from boys. Like I've been a nympho from birth. Like it's
Mhm.
in more than that, an exhibitionist nympho. Because it's almost like, well, if it's not exhibitionist, then I don't want to do it. I'm like, oh, we're gonna be like alone in your room? I'm not about that. Oh, in front of 70 people? I'm all fucking for it. It's like if there's no thrill, which God, once again, addiction behavior. It's that
Right.
thrill seeking, novelty
Mhm.
seeking
Mhm.
is probably my biggest defect.
Do you feel like you knew you were going to be a whore when you were a child?
Oh yeah, I remember
masturbating at
Yeah.
young.
I'm
Like,
fucked up. I'm like, should I say that? I don't know.
In diapers.
Yeah, but it wasn't. There was no sexual assault. I did not experience any. I just want to preface that no childhood sexual assault or anything like that. So don't even fucking try to blame that kind of shit because it wasn't that. It's just an innate being.
Yeah.
Were you felt that?
yes,
way?
I remember. Like, I remember when my friend in elementary school like first told me what sex was, and then she told me what strippers were, and I was like, definitely got to do that. That was in like
Yeah.
2nd grade. I was like, I would
Yeah.
love to.
I
do
need
that.
to be there. I need to be there where they are. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I always just knew. I just knew, and I feel like everyone around me knew, and everyone.
Because it's like a character trait. It's like an essence, if that like you really
And we're all
are born with
performers
it.
too, and
It's
it's
exhibitionism because
Mhm.
y'all. I feel like one of you did theatery kind of stuff,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
You definitely have done performance art.
Mhm.
Yeah. I was like doing the dance competitions growing up and
Mhm.
stuff.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And then, are you a theater kid?
Oh yeah,
Oh my God, so the
Right.
fuck am I? What was your favorite musical?
my favorite musical.
Or were you ever in any?
I'm trying to. Yeah, I was in a bunch of musical reviews at this like really nice theater in town over the summer. They would put on like really fancy kid
Love
shows.
it. Wow.
Favorite musical is hard. Trying to. I love Phantom of the Opera.
Oh.
It's so fucking
To
good.
the death. Like,
So good.
I will rock. Oh God. I listen to the soundtrack like anywhere.
Right.
I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
people think I'm, and I am.
Blasting it. It's like
Oh my
opera.
God. Yeah.
So
Andrew
good.
Lloyd Webber.
Mm.
He's a
Oh,
genius.
makes my pussy throb. And I'm gay, so that says a fucking
And who
lot.
was the actress that was in that movie?
Oh,
Emmy
she's
Rossum?
shameless.
Emmy
Yeah.
Rossum.
You look.
Oh
You
my
kind of look
so
like her.
gorgeous.
So good. Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Phantom of the Opera is
No,
really-
Her.
Yeah.
You
Wait,
could be
what?
Meg though, the cute one with the bow.
Oh, are we gonna do Phantom of the Opera right here, right now?
Are
you- can we do a nude?
Yeah.
Don't make me bust out
I'm trying to start to squirm. That's like sexy as hell.
Guys, let's do
Yeah.
it.
Next for Halloween.
Can we
let's
like
do that.
cosplay it? I've never done
Yeah.
cosplay, so like,
Yes. Oh my god, really cute.
let's
I
do
haven't
that.
really either. I don't know.
I know you're like, oh, it's so cute of you. I know someone today was telling me I need to cosplay, and I do want to, especially because I am such a theater kid. Like, oh God, and I went to an art school for high school.
Oh my
and-
God.
I mean, I
Fun.
did get expelled, but
Hence the fingering. No, I'm just kidding.
oh, that was middle school. Okay,
Okay,
I was a grown up at this point. I was advanced. I was a teenager. But I went
We
to
were
an art
fisting
school.
at the
Literally. Oh God, yeah, good time. Crazy things.
We're
about
so
school.
short on time. It's
Oh,
so sad.
That is so
No,
sad.
I can talk like for hours, so it's bad.
I know. I wish we
Oh,
had more
yeah.
time with you.
I know.
I really want to ask you about your journey with your dreadlocks before we go, and like how long have you had them?
She's gonna take
What-
it there.
Yeah, I want to know. I really wanted to like hear your story about them like before we go.
That's so funny. Okay,
You're like, this is gonna be 30
Yeah, I'm
minutes.
like, wait, I should have put that. No, I'm just kidding.
I know,
Down to talk, but that is a.
that was kind of what
You were
I was
wondering
like.
if I was
there's
gonna say
anything
it?
that you don't want to talk about,
She
let me
knows I
know.
pop off on that.
Yeah. Well, you should. Like, this is your opportunity. I
Yes,
feel like a
and
lot
you
of
know, I've
people
never-
want
yeah.
to know
Mhm.
about it.
Yes. So from the beginning, I guess. So in early high school, obviously I was struggling with drug addiction and stuff. And the one thing that kept me, like, honestly, I feel like kept me alive was spirituality. My aunt, I was raised that way already, which we kind of like talked about. My aunt was super, kind of an omnist like me, which just means, you take all of it in, you take bits and pieces that resonate and kind of create, your own practice. And so she introduced me to Hinduism and Buddhism, and I was, involved in that and deeply loved them. But my dad introduced me to Rastafari, and there was like a core, like resonating, like when I first read the first story of Haile Selassie, who was the emperor of Ethiopia and started well, he actually is Rastafari. Ras means king, and Tafari was his birth name. When I first read the story of him, they went into like battle essentially against Benito Mussolini, who was like the ruler of Italy. And they like went into battle with like no weapons, like no shoes, no like shirts. And he was on the front lines with his own people. And they actually did end up fighting off Italy, which was a crazy thing because Ethiopia, Italy, that's, big, big difference. And I don't know, something just hit me. Like it was just an immediate connection. And that was when I started my dread journey. And my dad is a history teacher. He is, he went to school for a long time and very into culture, history, all of it. And so he kind of came, he was like, I feel like this is going to really like sit right with you. And so he introduced me to Rastafari. He gave me CDs, gave me books. So he was giving me like, Peter Tosh CDs, Steel Pulse, Bob Marley, of course, but like OG Rastas who actually brought Rastafari from like the Caribbean to the Western world. And something just fucking, it was inexplicable. And so I got heavy into it. And it's interesting because Rastafari is actually a pretty traditional religion. And, now as an adult, there are some things that don't fully resonate with me, but at the time it was like my saving grace. And so part of that would have dreads. And, they say that after the war with Benito Mussolini, there were a lot of war mercenaries. And when they were released, they had shaved their heads, make them look uniform, put them in the army. So when they were released, they would let their hair grow out. And, when you let your hair grow out, you don't do anything, it locks up, it dreads or mats or knots, whatever you want to say. And that was the start of the connection between dreadlocks and Rastafari. And this was only in 1940. So this is actually really recent. Mm-hmm. So I loved that. It was an outward symbol of rejecting and resisting against the system. And so dreads were like a way to tell, signal to other people, like, I'm one of them, I'm one of the people that refuses to be a part of this system. Mm-hmm. And God, it gives me goosebumps even saying it. Like there was something so powerful about that. And I felt called. I felt deeply called. And so I had my first dread. This was around 14 years old. And my parents were like, you're not going to dread your hair. You're like 12 and a half. Like what? And I'm like, well, Dad, you did that. My mom was pissed at him because he's like encouraging all of this. And she's like, well, okay, well, slow down. And so I had like one dread, and then I had 3 dreads, and then I had 10 dreads, and then I had like bird's nests, and then the whole thing was dreaded. And so over time, obviously I've like refined them and cleaned them up, made them a little more, straight and not like tree trunky, but I do have all of my original dreads at home in a box.
And it's your plan to have them forever.
Oh,
yeah.
Absolutely. They hold my entire life in them. Like there was a TikTok trend where everyone was like, your hair holds memories. Then the next picture is their hair like cut off. And I'm like, I can't, like, this is everything. This is everything that I've experienced. Everything that, God, I could fucking cry. Like everything that I've learned is here. Most spiritualities believe that the top of your head is, that's your crown chakra. Like that is your energy. And I do feel like this is my life force. Like, and also roots. God, there's just so much symbolism like that you can really pick any of them. Now to the other side of that discussion, obviously people do have their own feelings about certain people having dreads. My only comment to that is, maybe educate yourself a little more before you have anything to say about that. You also don't know people's ethnicities until you ask them. But there's an incredible article written by a Black professor actually who said that the better question about dreads is who has not had dreads, because every origin culture throughout time has had matted hair. We can go back to fucking Neanderthals. Like, you thought they had a hairbrush? Are you dumb? Like what? So I mean, Indian sages, thousands of years ago. But as far as dreadlocks connected to Rastafari, that's in the 1940s. That doesn't make it any less valid, but it is much more recent. Yeah. So, I mean, there's, you could even like Vikings and Norwegian tribes, Icelandic tribes, like had dreads. People want to call them matlocks. Historically, that term was not a thing. I'm going to call them dreads, which is what I learned from Rasta. And let's also remember that, I've been involved with Rastafarians, and all children are children of Jah, regardless of color, race, creed, any of it. So unless someone from that religion and culture or the communities that I've been a part of is telling me that it's disrespectful, I don't really care what a white girl has to say on TikTok. So that's the extent of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I had this friend that had dreads, and I convinced her to cut them out.
And there are different types of people with dreads, and there's different types. Okay.
And I had some in college, like I just didn't brush my hair for a while, and I had some dreads, but it wasn't a part of my like spirituality or being or anything.
And that's kind of the difference.
That's a difference. It's a big difference.
There's an aesthetic, and then there is a full-on spiritual belief and way of life.
Yeah.
And there is a difference. And it's the same, a lot of people have fake dreads these days. That's like a big thing. Which
I think it's different when like a white person, I mean like a model that's about to go on the runway and they dread their hair for the runway show to sell a certain product, to be edgy. Like I think
that makes me cringe.
And I mean like how Black people feel about it, I think is extremely valid, and like
1000%.
They deserve to
1000%.
Yeah, they deserve to feel how they feel about it, and critique people for having them, absolutely. But I do appreciate your point of view with them, and to just kind of also not allow like, certain kinds of PC culture to change who you are. I think there's just like a fine line between things being helpful and harmful,
And yes, exactly what you said. Black people's voices and opinions on their own culture and topics, 1000% valid, and I will always be open to listen to that. But I will not take opinions from white women on the internet. And that's really the point I was really trying to get at.
Yeah.
I'm from the Deep South. The majority of my school was Black. The majority of my neighborhood is Black. The majority of my city is Black. So growing up, and there was no problem. So it did kind of, it's almost like going out into the real world was like, or not the real world, I'm sorry, TikTok. TikTok world was like really weird for me, because I'm like at home in my community with real human beings, and it's fine. But then like
the warriors of the internet.
Yeah, Sally on the internet, white girl from like Detroit, is like, you can't have dreads. And I'm like, let people of fucking color speak for them fucking selves. Like, stop drowning them out with your white opinions. Like, yeah. And I mean, there's just so much. And I never
love to police other people.
I know, and it's so fucking annoying. You're drowning out their voices. Like, stop doing that. If they want to comment or share or educate, then let them do that. That is not your fucking place. You are not a savior. And so that's really where I lose it. I would if I had someone. And also, I do want to say, box braids and dreads get put into the same category a lot, and there's a very distinct difference. Braids in general were used as a protective hairstyle through slavery. Dreads don't have that same history. And so a lot of people do, like, people will say, oh, I like your braids. I'm like, what braid? Like, I don't have my hair in braids, but people do group it all together. And I do want to say that is distinct, and that I fully understand the correlation to slavery. I mean, fuck. I mean, yeah, I would never in my life. And I am a firm person in like, box braids do not belong on anyone other than Black people. And I do believe that. So it's interesting because but I also just, I've met Swamiji and I've met the Dalai Lama, and like those cultures had, like, it's just so hard. There's so many different cultures. And I think there is a way to be respectful and educated. And really for me, it comes down to education and knowledge. Like, if you are educated on the stuff that you're interested in, and a way of life too, like, this is my life for, and I will fucking go to war over that shit. Like
Mhm.
they're with me for life, you know, and I want my children to have like, it's like that deep. Like it is that fucking deep. Like my children will have dreads, and then when they're old enough, they can decide. No, I'm so fucking serious. My 2-year-old will have dreads. Like it's almost like culty. I don't know. Something's a little weird, but it's just that important. I just know the journey that they've taken me on, and I just think, you know, obviously when they're of age to make it, if they don't want them, that's fine. But like, while they're my little infant and I make the choices, I want them to have that. It's such a crazy journey, so much patience, and it teaches you a lot. So thanks for bringing that one up, Sid. I'm like, fuck me.
Thank you so much for sharing. I feel like I just learned so much, and that's really.
I know. Sorry. Yeah.
No, I loved it.
Well,
It's
special
very
interest.
Yeah, it's just rare that like you know, somebody who a lot of people would think that they shouldn't have dreads just has such a comprehensive like
interesting.
background and information about it. Usually
Well,
they're
'cause it's
just
that
like, fuck
serious
you,
to
I
me.
do what I want. You know, it's like
But it
that's
is
not
that
what your
serious.
attitude is.
I mean,
yeah.
it is genuinely. I mean, it's that serious to me,
Mhm.
you know. And Rastafari has added a value to my life that there's nothing that can, you know, make up for that. So I'm indebted, you know, and I'm proud to have dreads and proud to be a part of that religion and spirituality that has made crazy strides in the West. I mean, like I could go on for hours
And
about
they
the
saved
impact
you,
it
and they
had.
saved your life.
They also did save my fucking life when I fell off a cliff, and I think that that's pretty fucking cool.
so I'm
too.
grateful for them.
Valid.
really.
Because that alone,
we
valid.
need you here, you know. Love me long time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, don't worry. If I fall off another cliff, I'll be okay. I've got dreads.
Yay.
This was so awesome.
Yeah, I'm very glad that. Thank you for inviting me, and
Oh my
or if I invited
God.
myself, I can't remember. Either way, thanks for having me.
We are very grateful to have you. It's so nice to see you. And yeah, I hope that you get to just like chill after this convention madness. And yeah, we're going to go get some
Absolutely.
food if you guys want to come.
All right. Okay.
So nice meeting you.
I know, and it's nice. I feel like I know you because I'm
I
like,
know.
so creepy, but I've watched you for like a hot minute now. So I'm like, oh no, I've met her a million times, but I'm like,
Yeah.
oh wait, I've like literally never met her.
We're definitely, there's a vibe.
Always,
Yeah,
yeah.
spiritual
Of course.
girlies for sure.
Wow.
It's wonderful.
All love all around.
This will be a 7-hour-long episode.
We're actually just starting.
Right. Perfect. Just that was a warm up.
Are you sure you want to post that?